Welcome everyone. Today we have the Ford Mustang Mach-E, and as you approach the vehicle, check out these approach lights. So first of all, the front lights start to turn on, those signature daytime running lights, but also look at this on the ground. You've got the pony on the ground. You've got this approach emblem on both sides every time you approach the vehicle at night. Even in the back, look at this. These Mustang inspired tail lights are going to turn on, so you've got these approach lights. But in this night review, we're going to take a good look at all these exterior lights, the interior ambient lighting, and get it out on the road for a night test drive. Thank y'all so much for tuning in. Let's start on the exterior lights. Now, if this is your first time tuning in for a night review, I'd invite you to check out some more in the description below or subscribe for more. But the Mustang Mach-E is going to give you LED daytime running lights and LED headlights standard on every trim no matter what, but the headlights vary a little bit depending. So we have projectors on the top couple trims. We've got projector high and low beams. The high beams are off on the inside portion, but those signature lights look really cool as well with the multiple lines there. There's no fog lights on here, but these lights do a pretty darn good job. You've got this progressive turn signal as well, which is LED. Overall, I think the lights on here look really nice. Now taking a look here, we've got the rapid red tint coat. It looks a little more orange on the camera. You'll also see that turn signal in the mirror. The turn signal up front really comes to the side of the car, which is actually a nice feature. And you've got the marker light on the side body as well. And overall, this Mustang Mach-E is actually kind of got a interesting silhouette. Kind of reminds me of some BMW type vehicles with the fast sloping roof. Just like the Mustang with its Mustang heritage, look at this. You've got the same design for these taillights. They're LED taillights. And it's interesting, you've got the bottom half is the amber and the top half is red. I think that looks really wicked, really cool. I like the lines in the middle. Then you've got LED license plate lights. Then let's look at the integrated brake lights and the low reverse light. This also has a hands-free lift gate. Look how bright those lights are right there. Those are good for loading lights too. But then you've also got a couple little LED lights inside here. And just for fun, you even have the little emblem integrated into those lights. And you can see this does okay shining light back here. Not great, but better than some. The crazy thing is that there's no rear door handle. You literally just push a button, and when you approach the vehicle, this will light up. But there's a little button right there, and then you've got an illuminated window switch. Otherwise, you've got some far spread out LED lights back here because you've got a huge fixed glass roof. And to my surprise, the charging outlet is not illuminated. But Ford gives you the touchpad on the door. This one does have a little grab handle, so you push the button, it pops out, and then you grab the door, and you've got ambient lighting already right in the doorway. LED lighting up overhead, but let's go ahead and jump in. Now that we're in the car, we've got push button start sitting right up on that ledge. It has a little light on it. And then this display up here is pretty much fixed. I mean, this stays just like this with your speed on the right and then your assistant stuff in the middle there. And you'll see the flashing lights right there. That is only picked up on the camera. They're not actually flashing to your naked eye. I'll cover those up in the test drive. That's actually part of Ford's Blue Cruise, where it monitors your eyes to make sure you're watching the road. But you've got Ford's typical gentle, like sea green, bluish backlighting here on the steering wheel. Over at your memory settings on the door, those are all illuminated. All the lock and window switch buttons are illuminated as well. And then you can even see some ambient lighting there in the door pocket, and it looks brighter on the camera than what it is. There's even some lighting down at our feet in the footwells, so that's nice. Now just to the left, you can see you've got your typical light controls. So unlike, you know, the electrical car type of standard, you actually get regular buttons here, which is really nice to see. You even get interior brightness controls on the far right. So if you adjust the brightness, you'll see the gauge up there. It changes this display right in front of us, but it also changes the brightness of some of these buttons, and it even changes the brightness of little ambient lights that sit up overhead. So you can crank these way up, or you can have them toned down. So for example, right now I have it turned up, and then let me go ahead and turn it down. And the camera tries to adjust for it, but you can see that it definitely gets darker with this ambient lighting. There's even some ambient lighting up under that little charging pad there, and even a little bit on the bottom shelf. It's a two-tiered storage area, as you can see with the lights. But this is a 15.5-inch screen right here. So Apple CarPlay and Android Auto are wireless. You can expand it, so it kind of expands, but you don't really get anything more. It just moves some other stuff down. But overall, if you have different things going on here, I like the screen. It's just that just about everything, like even air conditioning controls, are all touch sensitive. But I'll talk more about all of this in the full review. For some settings, all you do is touch this little Mustang up there, and then you can go to settings. There's a lot that you can customize on here, but just for nighttime's sake, we'll go to vehicle, and it's kind of slow sometimes. Then we'll go to lighting down at the bottom, and then you can, let's see where we're at. Okay, automatic high beam. You can turn your automatic high beam or your daytime running lights off, even the welcome lighting if you don't want that to turn on. So you can also go to display, and if this screen is just too much and distracting, you can change the brightness on here, but you can also put calm mode on to where it's basically just a clock. And you can of course turn this down, turn it off, dim the brightness too, but it helps to be a little bit less distracting that way. Ford gives you illuminated USB ports and a little wireless charging mat. And then there's this nice ambient lighting glow all the way down here on the shifter. That comes from right up overhead. You could of course put little bits of tape up here if you really don't like those. You've got all LED headlights, or tail lights, excuse me, not headlights or tail lights, all LED interior lights. And you can still turn the lights off if you don't want them to turn on when the door opens up. The center console doesn't have its own light, but you've got ambient lighting coming from here. Open this up, and it's bright enough from there and from overhead to be able to somewhat see inside. But Ford's glove box is as dark as can be. That's kind of surprising. Then overhead, Ford gives you these, literally, they look like fashion lights coming out of the mirror here. And one interesting note, on some of these Mach-E's, you'll get this fixed roof. You can't cover it up, and light does come through, which is really surprising. It's not electrochromatic or anything. It's just a fixed roof that you cannot cover up. But one of my favorite things about today's cars is the ambient lighting. So if we go to settings again, and there's not as much customization with this as I thought. Ambient lighting down at the bottom. You've got these different colors. The multicolor ambient lighting is on the upper trims. I'm not sure if the lower trims get single color or not. I can't find any information, but you've got all these different colors, and it really lights up the whole entire vehicle. You can have it change with drive modes as well. But which color would you go for? I like to hang out with this purpley color. Like I said, you've got the ambient lighting pretty much all over the place. The only color that doesn't change is up overhead. But the other thing is you can't, as far as I know, you can't change the brightness of this ambient lighting. As a matter of fact, I don't even know of a way to turn it off. Now let's take a close look at the headlight beam pattern. So first of all, that is a really nice, solid, and wide beam pattern. If you've seen any of my night videos lately, this is one of the best. And then let's turn these high beams on, nice and bright right in the middle. I'll show you what they look like in a distance soon, but they're really wide. There's no fog lights to talk about, but as far as headlight ratings, the bottom couple trims get reflector headlights that get the moderate rating, or no, acceptable rating, which is second from the best. And then these top trims with the projector LED headlights get the best possible good rating. They're not adaptive, but they still get a really good rating. Now let's take a closer look at a distance here. So I'm lining this up where I normally line up my other vehicles, and you can very easily see the bottom of the hill. Even on the left side, that light goes out pretty far. So this is quite impressive. And then the high beams light up that hill really well, and it doesn't seem to be too narrow or too low. I'm excited to get these on the road. All right, y'all, we're gonna get going on the test drive in this Mach-E. So the whole point of this night drive is so you can get an idea of what it's like to be the one driving this at night, see how well they do, and hopefully be a little bit entertained with it and fascinated with it as well. But this is the Mach-E Premium with the projector headlights, the top rated headlights that the Mach-E gets. So you'll get to see how well it does on a dark road, and I'm gonna get on a couple curves so you can see our visibility in the corners, high beams, low beams. I'll talk a little bit about driving dynamics on this test drive, but be sure to check out my full review in the description below, coming out soon after this video if you want to see all the details about this Mach-E. We're also going to do the automatic high beams. We'll let this vehicle do that on its own. So the automatic high beams are actually enabled right now, so we'll see how well they do. That little beep you just heard is just that we are in a school zone. But we're in engage mode right now, which is the middle kind of normal drive mode. And as soon as you put the pedal down, whew, you're gonna get a little bit of butterflies. And I got a stroller in here, so you heard that slosh around, but this car has some insane and massive torque. But I talk more about that in the full review. Like I said, you'll get to see more about that. And the high beams are on, and there's a Telluride right over there, and it left the high beams on until it saw that car. So it definitely blinded that car over there, which I feel bad about. High beams are on again, but we'll get on a dark road really soon. The rear view mirror is automatic dimming, but the driver's side mirror is not. So I'd like to see that, especially at this $56,000 price point, but that's just the way it goes. High beams turn back on, so they're definitely responsive, and they still turn on even with the overhead lights, but we'll get on a dark road in just a bit. All right, we're just about to get on the dark road, and another thing I want to talk about, one pedal driving, which I talk about in the full video more, but the one pedal driving is an option in this car if you want to, where you basically don't have to hardly use the brake. If you're not familiar with that, be sure to watch the full video. But high beams kicked on, we're going up over a hill. High beams have really good distance right there. Let me turn the low beams on so you can see the beam pattern. And to my surprise, both lanes have good distance into the corner. This doesn't have that really sharp drop off on the oncoming traffic lane like most cars do. I don't know. They didn't get docked for being too much glare, so that's a good sign. They looked good coming off over that. Automatic high beams, I just turned those on. So the high beams were on, they just kicked off because of that car. So we'll get to see how they do when they turn back on. So just the low beams, and then the high beams turn on, and those are, boom, wow, really bright down the middle of the road. Low beams, I can see well into the corner. Those are doing very good. That strong beam pattern really helps. High beams, there's no adaptive function, so you don't get the best cornering in the distance, or the best lighting in the distance around corners, but overall these are very good. I feel really confident with these lights, and I think that's the biggest thing that you look for with lights. So high beams are on, straight down the road I can see very well. I'm turning on the low beams, and the distance of the low beams still looks good. The beam pattern is good. There's no sacrifice on the oncoming traffic lane. And then width out into the ditches, that beam pattern carries out all the way out. You can see on the side, and I'm gonna get on a different road in just a second so you can get a better look at that. But these are impressive headlights. I mean, they for no fog lights either. The reflector lights on the other trims don't get as good of a rating, so that's something to consider. But on this road, you can see the beam pattern real strong on the left side of the trees, and you can see well out in front of us. Then the high beams light this tunnel of trees up really well. That's very impressive. I just love how the low beams don't aim too low. High beams looks really, really good. So if you do a lot of night driving, you're gonna love this Mach-E. And the ambient lighting is a nice touch. I love the ambiance in here all over the place, the overhead ambiance as well. The big screen is a little much. You can dim it, do the calm screen like this, but it's something to get used to, that's for sure. So I hope y'all enjoyed this night video. If there's something else you want me to cover in the night videos, be sure to let me know. But thank you so much for watching. Be sure to check out the full review and subscribe for more videos like this. Thank you for watching, and have a good night.